Hi, we're going to learn two new tangles today. One is easy and one is kind of hard. So we'll start with the easy one first. They're called Beetlejuice and Flowvine. So the easy one. So Beetlejuice kind of reminds me of a Dr. Seuss or something illustration. It's really kind of fun and playful. I'm going to make some parallel lines. These can be of any thickness. In the book, they're pretty thin. I'm going to do them pretty thin too. But remember that you can vary this however you want. As a matter of fact, they can be thick and thin, in the same piece. That could be really playful and fun. And after you do that first two parallel lines, you're going to add some little branches that come off the sides, however you feel. When I'm planning this, I'm always thinking, well, what's the best way to fill the space that the string has created in my tangle? Maybe I'll do one more up here. This one looks like it needs another one down here. And now the next thing is to, using your pen, to create a checkerboard pattern. And you can divide it if you want, first and then color it in. Or you can just start coloring in blocks of, this one would go a little bit longer, I think. Here we go. So I'm just going to go along the stem quickly. This might be something I would go back over and darken a little better, but I don't want to make you wait for all of that perfection. And let's see. Start on the stem, just a checkerboard. It's very simple. Doing this type of an easy tangle can be very meditative. Remember that I'm not turning the paper because I don't want my hand to get in the way of the camera, but it's much more comfortable to do any of these lines or filling in if you turn the paper so that your hand is just flowing and not struggling. Okay, almost done. All right, once you have your basic checkerboard on your branches, then comes the fun part, and that is adding these curlicues. So just come out and make a little fiddlehead. That's what I'm thinking of. It's spring. Of course, I think this is the part that makes it look very Dr. Seuss-like. Bet if we wanted to, we could find something just like this in a Dr. Seuss book. There we go. Something like that. And you can add as many as you want. Whoops. The last thing to do on this one is a little shading. And I'm going to imagine that the light source is coming from this direction, so the shadow would be on this side. And I'm just going to lay down a little bit of graphite along that edge and along this edge. I'm going to put the shadow on this side and this side. And then using the blending tool, I'll just smooth that out, and now it looks rounded. There we go. Now there's a variation on this that I wanted to show you. You can see it at the bottom of the page. And the approach, it kind of comes out looking very similar, but the approach is a little different. You can actually take a pencil and do a string. And this string, I'm going to pretend, is going to hold some beads. So I'm going to put some black beads on this string, leaving a space for some white beads that I'm going to draw in a minute. And I'm just doing this pretty roughly for this demonstration, but you know, you can smooth that out when you do it for real. You can probably do a little more uniform size if you wanted, but anyway. But the interesting thing of this variation is that you actually sort of change the size of this white bead. And in this case, I'm going to make it bigger. And you can really change it if you want to, just to get something kind of interesting. You could do a pattern. And again, we can shade this. I'll put some shading on the bottom part of the bead. You may erase that string line if you want, if you don't like it there. I think somehow it's gonna just get incorporated into my shading for the most part. There you go. So you have two variations on Beetlejuice. Okay, the next one we're going to do is Flowvine, and this one is tricky. So I hope I don't mess it up when I'm teaching you. Maybe that will just make you feel like everybody messes up, so it's not so bad, you know. But anyway, it starts out pretty easy. We're going to make some short lines. We're going to leave a space about the same length as that line that you chose to make. And a space again. And we're just going to keep going down a little longer until I get to the end of my border there. Okay, they'll stop there. Okay, the next part, I want you to notice this end of this line and this end of this line. We're going to do a graceful S. It's going to start at the top of that line, going to touch this line. We're making an S, and it's going to now curve around and touch the top of that one. Curve around and touch the top of the next one. This part's not too bad. And the next one. And the next one. Okay. Now this part is a bit tricky. So start right here at the top, and we're going to make a curved line up like that. And then we're going to go down to the next hanging little line there. And we're going to make that same kind of a wedgy sort of curve up here. And now to the bottom of this line and up. And the bottom of this one. This one. And this one. Okay, it's shaping up. All right, this is maybe the tricky part. Now we're going to go back to this end of that straight line. Remember, we started with just straight lines. And we're going to go from this point to this point, and it's going to be a gentle sort of a curve, like whoops, like so. Okay, I think I did that right. And then we're going to go to the bottom of this, and we're going to make a gentle curve to here. Bottom of this, gentle curve to there. Bottom of this, gentle curve to there. And bottom of this, and a gentle curve that kind of disappears here at the end. Ooh, okay, it's looking like something, isn't it? And then the next part is this little flowery sort of a decoration that we put in here and here. And right about there. It's kind of a little three-fingered hand, or maybe a three-petal flower. I don't know what it's really supposed to be, but I like it. And then I think they've included some like 3 dots on each one. I like that. It's so interesting what a difference just like a couple of dots can make. So that's the basic flow vine pattern. I don't think I've made any errors on it, but we'll find out when I do this next part. And that is the shading. So the first place that they have shaded is these little flowerets. So I'm going to add a little shading close to where it touches the vine. And I will be blending those out with the blender. And then we're going to make this look kind of like a ribbon, we're going to add some shading right in there. Add some shading right in there. And there, this is all by those straight lines. So if you can think back to the original line, lines that we made, the very first ones, these were all the straight lines. That's where all these little shading things are going to start. And when they blend out, you'll see this even better. So let's do that. Just blend these out. Yeah, kind of looks like a twisted ribbony thing. And there you go. Flow vine. Now before we go on to something else, I just thought that I would show you the Earth Day project. This is one that I started with you. I sort of showed you some of these parts that I had done, and that one I had done previously, but look at how interesting they are, and look at the interesting ways that they can be put together. There's all kinds of combinations, and when you get a bunch of them, you can actually put them all toward a center, and they can come out too. So it's going to be fun. I hope that some of you do these and become part of a collaborative art piece that Brian's going to help us put together. So there you go. Happy Earth Day.